It's a throne speech pointing to the pandemic as the priority for the fall session at the legislature.
Ontario cannot go backwards. After 18 months of fighting this pandemic, we owe our businesses stability and certainty.
The Lieutenant Governor delivered a short, COVID-centered speech going over parts of the Ford government's response to the pandemic, highlighting previously made funding commitments for the long-term care sector, promising to build hospital capacity, and offering a glimpse of how it plans to help the economy bounce back.
An economic and fiscal recovery that is fueled by economic growth, not painful tax hikes or spending cuts.
The government called its decision to implement a vaccine certificate system its most significant challenge, and said the ultimate goal of any future COVID restrictions is avoiding more lockdowns.
If additional public health measures are needed, they will be localized and targeted.
Opposition leaders were disappointed the speech didn't go further.
Announcing nothing new whatsoever to help patients, students, workers, or small businesses.
Absolutely shocking that we had to wait this long to hear so little from someone who's been in hiding for months.
Liberal leader Stephen Del Duca took exception to the lack of attention to education, something one of Ontario's largest teachers' unions also found concerning.
You could at least commit to saying education is important for the economy of Ontario. We know that investing in education is important. When you don't say anything, what does it really mean?
The Canadian Federation of Independent Business called the speech generally positive, pointing to the promise to avoid lockdowns and tax hikes. But we're looking for more, like more support grants for struggling small businesses and funding to cover the cost of checking vaccine certificates.
We're hopeful that they are focused on the immediacy of the pandemic and not too far ahead of themselves on the recovery side.
Government House Leader Paul Calandra argued that the speech hit all the right notes.
It does highlight some of the things that we want to do. It's not just about COVID, obviously.
The Premier, who has been noticeably absent from the public eye in recent weeks, was in the House for the speech but didn't take questions from reporters afterwards. The legislature was originally supposed to come back in mid-September, but before that time, the government decided to prorogue the House until after the federal election.